Take it, Georgie.
Number 30, running up the stairs. Various.
Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act, who's always running up the stairs when she should be going out the front door. It's insulting.
When a character is chased by a killer in their own home, one common move is to run up the stairs. However, there are several problems with going up the stairs. For instance, once you go up, you have nowhere to go but down. While such activity may be good for cardio, it will leave you winded. And if you're being chased by someone like Jason or Michael, you can't afford to slow down or be out of breath. This trope was famously called out by Sidney Prescott before she had to resort to it. Number 29, robbing a veteran. Don't breathe.
Do you think the money's in the house?
I don't know. Let's go find out.
A group of thieves decide to rob a blind veteran who got $300,000 as part of a settlement after losing his daughter in an accident. Karma aside, what's really stupid about robbing a veteran is that there is a chance that he has a particular set of skills he learned during his service. When the idiots eventually break into the blind man's house, they get a front row seat to that set of skills. Once the blind man ends up killing Money, whose idea it was to rob this house, it's hard to feel sorry for the home invader.
Why'd you bring a gun? This is a soldier's house, Alex. Like, I'm gonna come in here without some chrome.
Number 28, leaving the rifle next to the killer. Wolf Creek.
Now, this little procedure is called making a head on a stick.
After freeing herself, Liz is able to shoot serial killer Mick Taylor in the neck, causing him to fall to the ground unconscious. However, she squanders her luck by failing to take advantage of the situation by leaving the rifle near Mick's unconscious body when she flees. Granted, the rifle was out of ammunition, so Liz was unable to deliver a fatal headshot. But she didn't have to make Mick's job easier when he regained consciousness. She could have at least dropped the weapon somewhere else, or used it more forcefully to bash Mick's head in.
What did he actually do? Now.
Oh, I can tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Number 27, electronics. It follows.
Jay, I need you to point at it, okay? Keep your finger aimed at it so we can see where it is.
What's dumber than a teenager in a horror movie? A group of teenagers in a horror movie working out a plan. In It Follows, Jay is haunted by a supernatural entity that can stalk her at any time and kill her. To help her get rid of this entity, she and her friends come up with a plan where they try to lure the entity to a pool that Jay is in the middle of, which is surrounded at the edges by electronic appliances. The entity catches on quickly to the trap and tries to use the electronic appliances against Jay. In hindsight, this could have been better mapped out.
Jay, get over there! She's gonna get electrocuted!
Number 26, saying Candyman's name. Candyman.
Candyman, 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 Candyman. Candyman.
In the Candyman universe, saying Candyman's name 5 times in front of the mirror summons the hooked figure, resulting in you being violently killed by the vengeful spirit. Some characters dismiss this urban legend as fiction and try the ritual out of curiosity or because they succumb to peer pressure. If it's true, you die, but if it's not, you get nothing. There's no upside to saying Candyman's name, so it's the world's dumbest risk. Is it worth getting gutted by Candyman so your peers don't think you're a chicken?
You chicken! You have to do it 5 times. Come on, go.
Number 25, splitting up. Various.
Well, look, I think we'll be more productive if we split up, okay?
You know the expression that there's safety in numbers? Apparently, that expression is lost on characters in horror movies. Whenever there's a group of people that find themselves in a dangerous situation, their first instinct is to often split up rather than stick together. Chances are someone separates from the group to explore a mysterious noise, or the whole group separates to cover more ground when they explore an area. Oftentimes, whoever is stalking the group takes advantage of this decision by finishing off members of the group one by one.
She's right. Okay, you 3, follow me.
Number 24, opening the puzzle box. Hellraiser.
Take it. It's yours.
Like Candyman, Hellraiser is a Clive Barker story where characters needlessly invite trouble by summoning malevolent spirits. In the first Hellraiser movie, Frank Cotton and his niece, Kirsty, both open the puzzle box and summon Cenobites for completely different reasons. Frank opens the boxes because he was looking for pleasures from another plane, only to be surprised when that meant an eternity of torture. Meanwhile, Kirsty solved the puzzle box because she liked puzzles, only to be horrified when that meant an eternity of torture. If you like puzzles, a Sudoku or a crossword seems like a more sensible alternative than an ominous cube.
You opened it. We came.
It's just a puzzle box!
Number 23, Digging Up Jason. Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives.
I don't know how you talked me into this, Tommy. Hell, I must be crazy.
Obsession can make you do stupid things. As a child, Tommy Jarvis had a traumatic encounter with Jason Voorhees, where he managed to kill the slasher. However, he was plagued by the feeling that Jason was still alive, so he brought a friend with him to dig up Jason's corpse to make sure he was actually dead. When they got there, Jason was dead, but the masked murderer was revived because Tommy's exhuming Jason's corpse exposed him to lightning. As a result, Jason was able to continue his murderous rampage.
Jason belongs in hell. I'm gonna see he gets there.
Number 22, breaking into a home of supernatural terrors. Annabelle Comes Home.
We need another barrier of protection. A holy one.
Over the years, Ed and Lorraine Warren have collected cursed objects that have disturbing backstories. Given their reputation, anyone who visits their house should know better than to go into the cursed objects room without their permission. However, Daniela, a teenage friend of the Warrens' daughter's babysitter, goes in anyway because she wants to contact her dead father. And of course, if she's dumb enough to go into the room without any safety considerations, she's dumb enough to mess with all of the objects, including Annabelle. If you wanted to talk to your dead father, Ed and Lorraine Warren could probably have arranged that sort of thing through a seance or something. These kind of things are best left to the professionals.
What'd you do to get in there?
Number 21, Going After the Dog. Dawn of the Dead.
Stop, it's hurting him. No, it's not safe.
Nicole, they're not interested in him, I promise.
Look at me, they want us, okay?
As an act of goodwill, a group of survivors sent over a dog with supplies to a man stranded in a nearby building. However, when the plan fell through and the dog appeared to be in trouble, one member of the group, Nicole, the dog's owner, decided to go after the canine. This reckless act not only resulted in the group losing the safety of their compound against the zombies, but also resulted in several members of the group dying. Now, we get that dogs are man's best friend, but even the biggest dog person has to admit that this isn't sensible or ethical to let the concerns of one dog endanger one or more human beings. Plus, the zombies didn't even seem to be into the dogs anyway, making the whole sacrifice pointless as well as dumb. Number 20, Trusting the Scary Clown. It.
Hiya, Georgie.
Given the age of Bill's little brother Georgie, we'll cut him some slack. But still, come on. How could he think it was a good idea to interact with a clown that's in a storm drain? That obviously isn't normal or natural, even to the most naive child. Georgie also mentions that his parents have warned him not to talk to strangers, so he knew better than to talk to Pennywise. Kids at that age are gullible, but it is a complete lapse of common sense for Georgie to stick his hand in the hopes that Pennywise would give that boat back.
Take it, Georgie.
Number 19, Upsetting the Spirit. Paranormal Activity. When his girlfriend Katie became possessed by a demon, Mika decided to just make things worse any way he could. He flippantly documented everything with a camera and wouldn't stop even when Katie asked him to do so.
No, you haven't been having any progress and you're not in control. It is in control, and if you think you're in control, then you're being an idiot.
Among major sacrileges Mika committed were consulting a Ouija board, which for anyone who's seen The Exorcist is a major no-no when it comes to dealing with evil spirits, and throwing a cross into a fire. His confrontational attitude and unwillingness to be helpful and supportive eventually led to Mika's death, which at first viewing may have seemed shocking, but looking back probably shouldn't have been. Number 18, being a jerk. Midsommar. Mark tagged along with his friends to a Swedish festival that takes place every 90 years. Rather than treat the locals with respect, he acted inconsiderately and urinated on a tree that was sacred to the people celebrating the festival.
It's a dead tree, though. It's dead. Yeah, I know, but it's important to us. I just had to pee. I didn't know it was special.
This turned out to be a huge mistake, as the locals were part of a death cult, and they exacted revenge on Mark for his insolence. Unfortunately for Mark, he was too thick-headed to put all the pieces together, which led to his doom. The moral of the story is to always be nice to strangers, because you never know if they're actually nutjobs who would skin you alive. Number 17, throwing the map in the river. The Blair Witch Project. Mike admitted to committing this horrible act to his fellow film crew after spending days going in circles in the woods.
It was useless!
Now, it's heavily implied in the movie that the Blair Witch has cursed the woods, and that was why the three couldn't escape. But Mike didn't know that for sure. He just assumed the map couldn't lead them out of the woods and chucked it without consulting the others, which was incredibly selfish and self-destructive.
That map was useless! This was your own map was useless!
If Heather or Josh had cut ties with Mike right there and then, would anyone have blamed them? Number 16, playing a practical joke during a zombie apocalypse. Zombieland. During a zombie apocalypse, Bill Murray disguises himself as the undead to blend in. While that's a clever move, Murray probably should have thought twice about approaching other survivors in zombie makeup. We mean, the group was armed and could easily attack him in self-defense without checking to see whether he was a zombie.
Bill Murray, you're a zombie?
Oh, God, I'm on fire!
Even after Wichita hits him with a golf club, Murray unwisely decides to give Columbus a scare and gets shot in the process. We suppose a comedian like Bill Murray would probably think that life isn't worth living if you can't pull dangerous pranks during an apocalypse. Still, Garfield should only be his second biggest regret.
So do you have any regrets?
Garfield, maybe?
Number 15, reading from the book, Evil Dead.
Naturum demonto.
Naturum demonto, the Book of the Dead. Such words may not seem appropriate for someone trying to treat their substance use disorder. But in Fede Alvarez's supposedly fresh installment on the classic series, Eric made the conscious decision to study a flesh-bound book, which also happens to be written in blood.
I read a passage from that book. It was some sort of prayer. I released something, David. I released something evil.
Spoiler alert, Mia soon has more to worry about than drugs though, all thanks to Eric and his dim-witted curiosity. Here's hoping you never find yourself in a situation where you have to choose between Naturum demonto and illicit substances. Number 14, running in a straight line. Prometheus. In this sci-fi horror film, a spacecraft that has been crashed into was sent rolling after two people who decided to keep running in the same direction the ship was spinning. At any point, they could have turned a different direction and avoided the ship, like literally any other direction. But no, they decided to keep going in front of the ship and risk getting crushed in the giant vehicle's path. One of the two caught on and did the obvious, while the other just whimpered and was crushed, rather than apply common sense. Number 13, hoarding what you shouldn't. The Return of the Living Dead.
Did you see that movie, Night of the Living Dead?
In this film, canisters of toxic gas that could turn cadavers into zombies were stored in the basement of a medical warehouse. To show off, Frank took his new employee down to see the toxic gas, which supposedly served as the inspiration for Night of the Living Dead.
Hey, these things don't leak, do they?
Leak? Hell no. These things were made by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
Despite not knowing how stable the canisters were, Frank decided to pat one of them. This released toxic gas that started a zombie outbreak. If your workplace is full of gas that can cause corpses to turn into zombies, maybe you shouldn't disturb them. Number 12, driving under the influence. Hereditary. Let's start off by saying that it probably isn't a bright idea to take your kid's sister to a house party. This is especially true if she has food allergies and you plan on ditching her to do drugs with your friends. However, Peter decided to go through with this because he lied to his mum about going to a school-related activity, and she made him take his sister along. Because of his irresponsibility, Peter's sister had an allergic reaction to the food at the party, and Peter decided to drive her to the hospital even though he was high. He didn't even have the decency to call for an ambulance. But we guess it's nothing to lose your head over. Number 11, having poor security. The cabin in the woods. Despite the brilliance of the narrative itself, this cinematic collaboration from Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard has one major flaw that can't be ignored. As the orchestrators of a plan to appease the gods watch a contrived narrative unfold, Marty and Dana manage to survive the ritualistic mayhem and find themselves in a secret elevator.
I think I can get it to go down.
Do we want to go down?
While it may seem like a tough predicament, they manage to pick the lock, so to speak, thus unleashing the monsters all over the surprised staff.
Oh, shit.
All that work, but still a flawed security system. Of course, you also have Kurt's questionable motorcycle jump, but in a way, that one makes a bit more sense. Number 10, entering an unexplored cave, The Descent. Considering what happens to Sarah's family in the opening events of The Descent, you'd think that Juno might have learned a lesson when it comes to future outdoor excursions. Safety first.
Holly, safety first. I don't want any stunts this time. You okay? No. See you down there.
But these are the movies, and if you're going to take your loved ones spelunking, you go big or go home. Of course, Juno didn't exactly tell anybody the truth regarding the unexplored cave system. So, naturally, they were all kinds of screwed and left to battle some deeply annoying creatures known as the Crawlers. And you know what happens next. Number 9, going into the pipe, Jeepers Creepers. In the middle of a road trip, a brother and sister came across an aggressive hothead who had a bad case of road rage. After following the mysterious man, the two witness him drop a body into a pipe. Rather than do the sensible thing and call the police, the brother, Darry, decided it was a good idea to take matters into his own hands and explore what was in the pipe.
Darry, don't even think about it! Darry!
I told you I heard someone!
How bad was this decision? Darry's sister goes meta to explicitly warn him that this was like something out of a horror movie. This failure to recognise obvious red flags ended up sealing Darry's fate. Number 8, not running to safety. I know what you did last summer. When you're being chased by a dark figure with a massive hook, and they appear to be quite efficient in their ways, the best course of action is always to keep moving. You know, running away from certain death. However, in I Know What You Did Last Summer, the beautiful Helen Shivers finds herself distracted by a marching band and obvious safety. However, she inexplicably stops, and not to check her phone. And that's how she gets herself killed. Now, that's why people scream at inanimate objects in public. Number 7, putting both hands in the box. Saw 2. For round 2 of Jigsaw's devious game of murder, he threatens slow and nasty deaths. But like a true gentleman, he informs the victims that antidotes can be found around the pad.
One is inside the safe in front of you. You all possess the combination to the safe. Think hard. The numbers are in the back of your mind.
Well, once Addison reaches a glass box, she's not quite as composed as she'd like to be. If she would have just processed the situation properly, rather than sticking not one but both hands in the box, she might have noticed the key lying just a few inches away.
Help me! Help me!
Not a sharp move, Addie. Kind of like Lawrence cutting off his damn foot in the original Saw, rather than using his shirt to get the phone.
What are you doing?
Number 6. Not hanging up and calling the police. Scream. By now, we can look back at this scene and laugh, considering we know the franchise as a whole. Still, it's a perfect example of how poor decision-making can make any mild-mannered viewer foam from the mouth, whether inside the movie theatre or at home. As Wes Craven's iconic film starts, Casey Becker gets a naughty phone call. But no matter what the person on the other side says, she can't manage to hang up the damn phone and call the cops.
Listen, I am 2 seconds away from calling the police.
They'd never make it in time. We're out in the middle of nowhere.
You gotta hand it to Drew Barrymore for such an honest performance, even if her character is a few apples short of a bushel.
Who's there? I'm calling the police!
Number 5. Having crime be legal for one night. The Purge franchise.
Commencing at the siren, any and all crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 continuous hours.
While the idea behind The Purge sounds like an interesting thought experiment, it's a bad idea that should be scrapped immediately after consideration. Once you start to think about the logistics of carrying out such a concept, the more it starts to fall apart. Even if it boosted economic productivity and brought down unemployment, the human cost would outweigh any economic benefit from the purge.
Purge and purify. Say it with me.
Purge and purify! Purge and purify! Purge and purify!
Each movie shows different problems that come from the purge, not only on the poor and marginalized communities, but also everyone else. Number 4, watching a videotape you know is haunted, The Ring.
Have you heard about this videotape that kills you when you watch it?
If Scream made people laugh and cry, this American remake of a classic Japanese horror film made viewers melt down in public and dribble a little bit of pee down their leg. At the heart of The Ring is The Tape, a disturbing recording that characters have been warned not to watch because it will kill them. And just like how nobody can turn away from a train wreck, the characters of the film naturally just have to know what the F is going on with the tape, as if they actually knew that a creepy girl would crawl out of the TV and drag them to hell. But alas, that's what happened. The moral of this story, maybe don't push play and just go to the gym or something.
So, what are we watching? Home movies or something?
I'd really rather watch it alone. Really.
Whatever.
Number 3, releasing the chimps, 28 days later. Kind of like climate change, some people just refuse to believe scientists.
The chimps are infected. They're highly contagious. They've been given an inhibitor.
Infected with what?
Despite warnings from one in the opening minutes of the zombie flick 28 Days Later, a group of activists make a supremely idiotic decision.
Stop! You've no idea!
The chimps essentially rage against the machine, and they rage hard, giving the film its title and making viewers hate those animal activists, as if Peter wasn't already having a hard enough time as it is. They really ruined it for everybody, and even managed to infect us with anger. Number 2, giving up too soon. The Mist.
We gave it a good shot. Nobody can say we didn't.
Nope. Nobody can say that.
In perhaps one of the most agonizing moments in modern cinema, a man comes to the proverbial crossroads after The Mist wreaks havoc. Yet this path of escapism involves death for his entire crew. Being the upstanding citizen that he is, David Drayton executes a mass act of what he considers as mercy, sparing himself only because he ran out of bullets. But surprise! The war is over, as the US Army rolls up and inadvertently delivers the knockout punch to old Davy's very soul. Now, that's what you call some bad timing, and certainly a blow to the senses. Number 1. Keeping the beaches open. Jaws. When the remains of a dead body are found on shore, Mayor Larry Vaughn doesn't balk under pressure from local authorities. Rather, he stands tall in the name of the almighty dollar, even if people later describe ginormous teeth in the wrecked hulls of boats.
Larry, if we make an effort today, we might be able to save August.
August? For Christ's sake, tomorrow's the 4th of July, and we will be open for business.
And so the smug politician doesn't close the beach. After all, they caught the culprit in question, right? Well, no, they didn't. Some people in horror movies screw only themselves with dumbass decisions, but in Jaws, one prideful man just couldn't pay attention to the obvious facts and made everybody feel the wrath of a great white shark.
I was acting in the town's best interest.
That's right, you were acting in the town's best interest, and that's why you're going to do the right thing. That's why you're going to sign this.
What kind of dumb mistake would you make if you were in a horror movie? Let us know in the comments.
You should never say who's there. Don't you watch scary movies? It's a death wish.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from Watch Mojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.